Welcome back to Talk It Out with Marla P. I'm your host, Marla, and today we have a special guest with us on today. We have Precious Monèt. Welcome, Precious.
Hello, how you doing?
Good. Precious is a world-renowned inspirational speaker, HR consultant, and author, known as the Purpose Pusher. Precious is dedicated to helping women around the world step into their divine calling and thrive in their purpose. She is also the founder of BHS Consulting Firm, where she helps businesses identify talent gaps and create strategies. Precious has overcome incredible challenges in her own life and used those lessons as a roadmap to achieve the success she has today. Her story is truly one of resilience, empowerment, and transformation. Precious, thank you again for joining me on today. It's such an honor to have you on my show.
Well, it's an honor to be here.
Awesome. Let's just dive right in. Your journey is incredibly inspiring. I know our listeners will be eager to hear more about how you turn challenges, opportunities for growth.
I think the main thing is, one, we have to be self-aware. If we're not self-aware, we're not going to know how to maneuver through this thing called life.
Absolutely.
If you don't know how to maneuver through life and you're facing challenges, life is going to be rough. Look, yes. I'm not saying life is perfect, but I'm saying once you find that peace, once you've discovered your purpose, life is so much more intentional and it's so much more peaceful.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Because we all know life be life at times, you know?
Exactly.
Self-development is something you've mastered and continue to practice. What are the key habits or practices you believe are essential for anyone looking to achieve personal mastery?
Self-development, well, one, you got to make sure that you take time out for yourself. Absolutely. It's important to know your triggers. It's important to understand what true emotional intelligence is. And when you figure out those things, you have to be able to, whatever works for you. I'm a Christian, so I read my Bible. Yes. I have my quiet time. And those are the things that I do in order for me to build my faith, in order Absolutely. For me to center myself with God. And really, that's the only way I can get through life. It's the only way I can get through challenges. But it's important to do a self-assessment of yourself, right? If you don't understand your emotions, if you don't understand what triggers you, then how can you do something about it?
That's true. That's so true. That's true. So how do you stay motivated and committed to continual self-improvement, even when things get tough?
Look, like you said, life be life. And I think it all starts with my quiet time. Every day I have to have my quiet time, and that consists of me reading my Bible, reflecting, listening, and worshiping. It's gotten to the point, I've been doing it for a while, that if I miss a day, like I physically don't feel well, I'll go through the day and I'm like, something's off. So once I've discovered the importance of quiet time, I think that for me, when I'm faced with a challenge, I either have a moment of, okay, let me take a minute, let me take a breather. I feel like I'm getting ready to go to 10 because I'm self-aware.
Yes.
Also, what motivates me is my husband. You know, he's a strong believer as well. So it's a healthy balance when it comes to our relationship. And then me, I'm just a driver. I'm someone that just wants to see results. And I just want to be able to, if I can impact one person, if I can help one person find their purpose, that's all that matters to me. So that is motivating to me as well.
I love that. I love that. So you founded BHS Consulting Firm with the mission to help businesses identify talent skill gaps. Can you walk us through a common challenge businesses face in talent management and how your firm helps solve that?
Absolutely. Now let's think about the economy we live in today. Yes. Right now, you have to really, it's hard to find talent. And it's hard to find people that actually enjoy what they do, right? Some people are just going through the motions. Some people are just collecting checks. And it's important for the employers. I really focus on the employers because I don't want people to feel like they're just a number. I don't want them to feel like they're just going through the emotions. And if I can focus on the employer and really let them identify who's their top players, who are their opportunities, how can we change our opportunities into progress, right? Do we have the right people in the right roles? Are we being productive? Are we being proactive or reactive? So those are the things that we kind of navigate through the business assessments with employers to identify those things. And once you identify those things, the most important thing is, do you have the right person in the right role? And are we really being productive?
That's true. That's true. So what steps do you take to ensure that, they have the right people in the right roles?
Well, one, we take a look at the job descriptions, right? We go in, we assess the company's overall performance. What's their drivers? How many departments do they have? Once we do a full assessment on the business, then we look at the roles, the job description. Does it make sense? Do you need a marketing department? Do you need what departments do you really need? And then really doing succession planning and realigning some departments. Maybe we have some redundant roles. Maybe we can consolidate some roles. Are we working smarter rather than harder? Are we spending money that we don't need to spend? Where can we save? Where are the cost savings? So there's so many different plays depending on the business, depending on the size, but it's really right sizing the business and going through succession planning to make sure that we're making the smart moves and we're moving towards profit.
Awesome. Okay. Excellent. So you're known for constructing trailblazing brands that amplify talent. What do you believe are the foundation elements that every purpose-driven company should have?
One, you have to know your employees. What drives them? Everything does not drive everyone, right? Everyone is motivated in different aspects in life. Something as simple as food might motivate an employee. So, but then you have those employees that, look, I'm tired of pizza every Friday. So, let's do these employee surveys and figure out what your employees want. How do they feel fulfilled? What drives them? And I think once a company understands that, then you can be able to pull on those things that that drives them. You have people that, they just want a simple appreciation. Do we take the time out to say, hey, you've done a great job, Marla. I just want to recognize you in this moment. And I think the employers, they focus so much on the task and not the people. And the people is the most important part of the business, because without people, there is no business.
Absolutely. I agree with that. Wholeheartedly. So what makes BHS Consulting stand out in the HR consulting space, and what has been the most rewarding part of helping other businesses thrive?
I think what makes us stand out are we really focus on the people, right? It's not just the numbers. If you are focused on the people, I promise you the numbers will come. If you have people that's in your working environment that loves what they do, that actually enjoys coming to work, you're going to get more out of that individual. So why not focus on the people? And I think that's what makes us stand out, because, again, we're all about amplifying talent, right? So we want to make sure that we're pushing everybody towards their purpose. We're letting those top players shine. We're pushing them to their full potential, and then really providing them with the resources and tools to be consistent. Because once we've done assessment, that's the one thing you don't want is, okay, the assessment's done, we put all these great things in place, but follow-up is key, right? We have to have those measurements as far as following up, a 30-day follow-up, 60-day follow-up, do a survey, what needs to be adjusted. And I think for me, proudest moment is going back to an organization a year later and seeing someone that was a little bit of a challenge, didn't have the buy-in right away. And then here we are in a director's role a year later. So things like that is what gives me joy.
I love that. Just seeing the fruits of your labor.
Exactly.
Yes. So as an inspirational speaker and advocate for women, you've empowered many to step into their divine calling. What advice do you have for women who are looking to embrace their purpose but feel held back by fear?
Fear will stop everything. I tell you now. And look, I'm someone that suffered from anxiety. I'm someone that had let fear get in the way. But you have to grab fear by the blowhorn, and you have to make a decision that, look, okay, I'm afraid of this, or you know what, why don't I want to take this risk? Really analyzing, what's the worst can happen? So my passion is really helping someone embrace and overcome that fear, really embrace that divine calling, letting them identify what is it that they want to do, and then really letting them thrive in their purpose.
Love that. I love that. Can you tell us more about your work as a purpose pusher? How do you help women discover and thrive in their purpose?
Well, here's the thing, just like we were talking about, again, fear. We all have fears. And look, just because I've overcome my anxiety doesn't mean I don't get any anxiety at all. Every now and then,
right.
Believe it or not, I'm an introvert. But look, once we can identify fear, once we can understand what makes us uncomfortable, you have got to make that decision. You have got to find that support system that's going to help you be consistent, whether it's a coach, whether it's a mentor, whether it's a church friend or a trusted friend. You can't do it alone. I tell you now, you cannot do it alone. You have to surround yourself around people that truly support you, but at the same time, that's going to be honest with you. Because if they're not honest and they're just telling you what you want to hear, you're not going to grow. So
that's right.
think the most important thing is one, identifying what you're fearful of. And once you identify that, really make that decision like, okay, I'm just going to jump out and start this business. You know what? I'm just going to go for that promotion and really surround yourself around the people that's going to tell you the truth. And it might hurt. It might hurt. Right. But you've got to be able to reflect and take action. And that's the key, is do something about it.
That's right. That's right. You're always seeking innovative and effective approaches to challenges. Can you share a recent example of how you've implemented a new process or strategy that made a significant impact?
I think that every day I tend to reflect, right? If you're not reflecting, and look, I'm not advising people to do it every day, but for me, I've created a planner that I can write and reflect. And it's important to look, nothing's going to be perfect, and you have to realize that. But something can be perfect for you, right? It might work well for you. So I think I'm constantly trying to find ways to be different. I'm constantly trying to find ways to think outside the box, right? When it comes to HR, right? When you hear the word HR, everybody wants to, put their hands up and have that fear of HR just because you hear the word HR. I decided to become a life coach because when I was in the corporate world, I wanted to be different. I wanted to know why. Why do people do what they do? So I wanted to be that different HR person, not that black and white. I wanted to know why people did what they did. So that's like one example of me kind of thinking outside the box. And when it comes to speaking, it's really, thinking outside the box. It could be, all depends on who you're talking to, letting someone not only find their purpose, but truly settle within themselves, because we are so many different people until we truly settle in ourselves.
Absolutely. I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. When it comes to building successful teams, what are the key qualities you look for in individuals, and how do you assess if someone would thrive within your company or a client's organization?
Great question. Talent is so hard to find. Let's keep it real. Well, one, you can go through traditional interviewing questions, right? And we can meet their representative. They might put on a good show. But to really get to know someone, you got to have a dialogue and a conversation, right? Absolutely. My interviewing style is really a conversation. You got to get that person comfortable to make them feel like they're not even interviewing. And then their true colors might come out. They might get a little too comfortable. Like, okay, that's a red flag right there. But, I'll ask, my favorite question to ask in an interview is, if I were to go into your closet, what would I see? That throws everybody off every time I ask that question.
That's a great question.
Because that's going to tell me a lot. Are they going to be vague and say, hey, I just got my clothes on hangers and that's it? Or are they going to give me the real, like, hey, I got socks and drawers and all this on the floor, Or are they going to be like me? Okay, when you go into my closet to the left, you're going to see all of the t-shirts. T-shirts go all the way to the long sleeve shirts, and then you have color coordinated and all the hangers are the same. That just tells me that person is detail oriented.
Yes.
So you got to have interviews that it feels like a dialogue, and it's not so like, okay, tell me about a time,
Yes. Yes.
And that's how I find good talent.
I like that question. So what are you looking for when you ask that question? I know there's no right or wrong answer, but yeah, exactly. What are you looking for?
Really attention to detail. How
Okay.
attention to detail are they going to describe their closet? How vague are they? What is their facial reaction when I ask that question? Like, oh man, I didn't get to do my laundry last night. It's so many different things that you should pay attention to when you ask that question. But I'm really looking to see how detailed and specific this person is going to be.
I love that. I love that. How do you foster a sense of unity and shared purpose among diverse teams and different backgrounds and skill sets?
I think it's important to get everybody's buy-in, right? What's the mission here? What's the goal? What are we all working towards? And if we are working towards the same goal, how can each one of us benefit each other, right? I might be good in X, but you might be good in Y. All right. We're part of the alphabet. So we need to all come together to make this alphabet complete. But I think it's important to have that conversation with all team members and really get, hey, what's important to them? Because it could be the most minute thing that might be important to them. But if you don't pay attention and you overlook it, then you've lost that individual. So you really got to do intentional meetings. And I say intentional because oftentimes employers like to do these, I call flyby meetings, right? You're in the hallway. You doing good, Marla? Everything's good. Boom. That's a check mark. I checked on Marla.
Exactly.
Rather than scheduling something on the calendar, having an actual meeting, having that dialogue. How are you feeling? What's going on? What's your wins? What do you need help with? I always tell my team how I end every meeting is, what do you need from me? Because I need to make sure that they're getting what they need from me. Because as business owners, as leaders, everyone's a leader, regardless of your title. If you don't spend that time and you don't know what your coworker, your partner needs, then you're not going to have a successful relationship.
I agree with that. And that is so important. And it just shows that you care.
Exactly.
I want to make sure that you're taken care of.
Exactly.
Yeah. We're a team. So as a seasoned HR consultant, how do you see the future of HR evolving, especially in terms of how businesses identify and nurture talent?
Oh, great question. AI is taking over.
Yes, it is.
But at the end of the day, I look at HR as this. Look, someone always needs to do the hiring and the firing, right?
That's so
HR will always have a solid foundation in industry. Where I see it going, it's so up in the air. A lot of organizations is transitioning to AI. That might mean less roles in organization. And I don't want people to be fearful of that. We need to start thinking of creative ways on how we can utilize AI to our advantage and demonstrate that you still need a human touch.
I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. As someone who empowers others to step into their purpose, how do you inspire confidence and empower others to take ownership of their own success?
One, they need to take ownership and responsibility of their actions. A lot of time we say one thing, but we do another. And I'm big on, the cliche of women supporting women. I think it's so cliche because I am about how do you demonstrate woman supporting woman versus you just saying it. So I think it's important to have transparent conversations. Like when you meet someone, have that open dialogue. Like, hey, Marla, what's going on? What's your goals? And have that conversation. And then if you feel like you vibing with someone, then you need to have those boundary conversations. And I think a lot of that times that doesn't happen. And then we assume we're good, right? And then what happens is we don't get to pour into each other. We don't get to grow because we're not aligned, because we didn't talk about our missions and our visions and our values and our boundaries.
I love that. Wow. So for someone who's thinking about starting their own consulting firm or business, what are the top 3 pieces of advice you would give to them to help them avoid common pitfalls?
One, make sure it's your passion, right? Don't just do something because you see somebody else doing it. Don't do
That's
it just
important.
because you're trying to keep up with the world or society. Make sure that you are doing it because it's something that you love. If you're doing something that's your passion, then it's never going to feel like work. So that's one. Another advice is once you identify, what is it you want to do, figure out what problem you're trying to solve, right? If you're able to solve a problem for someone, then you are an asset to someone. So turn that passion into some type of purpose to help someone with a problem or issue. And then last advice, just do it. Don't let fear get in the way. Don't let obstacles get in the way. Don't get all the people in your ear saying you can't do it get in the way. Just make a decision, wake up the next morning, put a plan together, put that pen to paper, and just do it. Now, it might take some time. It's not going to take, a couple weeks, couple months, might take a couple years. But the fact that you decided to start, that's all that matters. And make sure you surround yourself around the right people.
Yes. Sometimes you have to do it scared.
Exactly. Exactly.
So what do you wish you had known when you first launched your business, and how did you navigate the early stages of entrepreneurship?
Ooh, I wish I knew everybody's not my friend. I wish I knew that, going into business, you want to help everybody. You want all your friends to follow you on your journey. And I have had quite the experience. Let's just say that. I wish I would have not only do it scared sooner rather than later, because I was at a time when I wanted to start a business. I had a best friend at the time. We're no longer best friends, but told me I shouldn't open a business. Like, why are you opening a business? So I think for me, it's important to, like you said, do it scared, but at the same time, make sure that you're doing it for you and no one else.
Absolutely. Oh, wow. And you really have to be mindful of the people that's in your ear, because if you're not strong, that can really kind of, sway things.
Right. Think about it. So you're already fearful of doing whatever goal you said you want to do. Then you got somebody in your ear being negative. Then you have that self negative talk, right? You got all these different things that is going to want to prevent you from doing the things you say you want to do. I think for me, I wish I would have not listened to anyone, started a little sooner rather than later. I have no regrets because I think everything's a learning experience. But if I could have told myself earlier, look, regardless of what people say, do what you said you wanted to do.
Absolutely. I love that. And Precious, you're an author.
I am.
Let's talk about your book.
All right, which one? So we got,
my goodness.
There's a couple books. We got Free Yourself from Yourself. That book talks about overcoming fear and anxiety. That's something that I needed to overcome myself. So I wanted to be able to write a book that can touch people and help them navigate through fear and anxiety. Then I have Without Passion, What's the Purpose? That book helps you navigate through purpose. And then my latest book is Sisterhood Sabotage. That book talks about how to go from heal to whole.
Okay. Now, where can my listeners purchase your books?
Oh, on Amazon or on preciousmonét.com.
I love it. Okay, girl. You doing your thing.
Thank you.
Okay. So for my listeners, if they would like to, keep in contact with you, where can they find you?
Easiest way is preciousmonét.com. That's all things Precious, HR, speaker, author. Easiest way to get me is preciousmonét.com, or on Instagram or social media, I am Precious Monét.
Oh my goodness. I love it. So enjoying this conversation. Do you have any final thoughts for the audience, or?
I do. If you think about life, think about what is it you want to do, because life without purpose is no life at all.
I love that. Oh my goodness, Precious. It has been a pleasure. Thoroughly enjoyed conversing with you.
Thank you. Same here.
Thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule, because I'm sure you're a busy woman wearing many hats. And I'm just thankful that you just took time out to, join me on today.
Well, thank you. I appreciate you even having me on your platform. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Do you have anything else you'd like to discuss that we haven't touch base on? Or
No, I am good to go. It's been a pleasure.
absolutely. Well, before you leave, I would like to leave my listeners with my motto: when you see the need, plant the seed.
Ooh, I love that.
Thank you. Until next time, we'll talk soon. Have a blessed one. Thank you.
Thank you, Marla.
Thank you. Have a good one.
All right, you too.